to start off by asking you about Barry Cotter. Barry has been over in England in the past. He came over with McCarthy. He was in Ipswich there for a while. It didn't start to work out for him. He went down the lower leagues in terms of English football, came back to Ireland, made a name for himself again in the Irish Electricity League, has come back to England now, much older, maybe the second time around at 23 or 24, came back January last year. Probably since you've come in, though, he's been thrown straight into the firing line. 7 starts to start the season. What have you seen in Barry that you've rewarded him and given him his chance? Because he seems to be an ever starter for you so far this season.
I think first and foremost, his attitude, his willingness to be coached and to learn. I think that's been quite apparent from my first few days here, that Barry was eager to get better, eager to work hard. So that's very important. But in terms of a playing style, he's very quick. So his ability to go by players 1v1. And he's also created a lot of opportunities for a team with his crossing. So I think those are the two aspects that really make him dangerous.
And I suppose, Neil, in terms of a Barry, I suppose he's probably aware that you normally get maybe one shot to make it in England, an Irish player. If you don't, maybe the second shot comes around. He probably knows that this is his big opportunity now, in terms of that he mightn't get another one if it doesn't work out for him. So have you seen that real professionalism in terms of his game, that he's matured, that the experiences that as a youngster has molded him into a man really, and sort of shaped him in terms of that professional attitude that you need to make it at the top?
Yeah, I think all these experiences shape who we are, and I'm sure Barry understands that, having not quite cracked it in his first time, he won't want to let this one slip past. He's certainly playing and training like someone that wants to make the most of any opportunity he gets. And I think that's what every player should be like, no matter what you've done. So it's good to see, and I'm sure he'll continue to grasp any opportunity with both hands. And I think there's a lot of potential with Barry. So hopefully we can help him fulfill it.
And obviously, one of the star players for Barnsley last year was Luca Connell, a phenomenal campaign. And obviously, you've been deprived of his services most of the season due to this mysterious illness. And how is Luca at the moment in terms of Barnsley? Any sort of updates on him in terms of is he nearing back to full recovery?
No, he's nowhere near full recovery, but he's back in. He's back in the training ground on a day-to-day basis, starting to do some light exercise. So small steps towards recovery.
And I suppose when he does come back, it'll almost feel like a new signing for you, I imagine, to get to work with him. It'll almost feel like your deadline transfer day signing in terms of a player that you haven't really got to work with so far, and he was probably a standout player for Barnsley last year. So that, in one sense, I know to be deprived of him must be heartbreaking in one sense, but obviously as a manager, when you're going so well at the start of the season and you have a player of that caliber to come back later on, it almost feels like that that the Barnsley team are going to get stronger when he comes back into the fore, into the reckoning.
We'll definitely get stronger when Luca Connell comes back into the group, because he's a great guy, infectious energy. So even from a training perspective, he'll make everyone better. And then it's no secret he's a top player. He was in the League Team of the Year last year, so he will feel like a new signing. And as we've seen with other players coming back, we need all the competition that we can get. And as I say, Luca brings certain attributes that other players don't have, and I look forward to getting them back and having them in the squad.
And Neil, you have a striker on red hot form at the moment. Anything he touches seems to be hitting the back of the net. Devante Cole, 7 appearances, 8 goals so far this season. Is it just a case when you get out wide, or you get in any sort of positions just to put it in there at the moment? Is that the advice when a striker is on that sort of form? I suppose it only has to be a half decent cross, a half decent ball. Just get it in the mix, I suppose, and give him that opportunity, because whatever he seems to be hitting at the moment seems to be hitting the back of the net.
I think whether it's Devante or any of our strikers, we want to give them service, we want to give them delivery, and I think we mentioned with Barry, Nicky Cadden, Corey O'Keefe, Owen Dudgeon, we've got real good quality at wing back to create those chances. But when someone like Devante's in the form he is, I think a chance falls, you expect him to put it in the net. And I think he's probably so full of confidence he expects to put it in the net. And when you're not maybe so full of confidence, it sometimes takes 2, 3, 4 chances to put one in. So he's really impressed me, both sides of the ball since we've been here. And we hopefully just keep creating the chances, and we know that if we do that, he'll keep putting them in the net.
Yeah, and I suppose it must be great. We're only in the month of September and you already nearly have a striker in double figures for the season. That's a luxury that most managers want. Even April, some managers don't have their strikers in double figures. So that's a rarity to have a striker in double figures in come September. But just on your opponents this weekend, Portsmouth, and I know Barnsley, yourself, Neil, you're having a fantastic start, but equally Portsmouth are having a fantastic start. And John Messina seemed to have took to this Portsmouth job like a duck to water in terms of performances and terms of results. So this is going to be a real top of the division class in terms of League One, in terms of this sort of fixture. And there's going to be an awful lot of eyes on this sort of fixture because it is really one of the standout fixtures early on in the season. 2 teams in red hot form, 2 teams scoring an awful lot of goals, and it should be a really good, not only for the fans of both sides but for the neutrals, I imagine, as well. It should be a really good, cracking, entertaining game of football.
Yeah, I certainly think Portsmouth and John Messina have done an excellent job and start to the season. Tomorrow night's game, I think, will be good, I'm sure, from both teams' perspectives to see where they stand against each other. Nothing will be defined by tomorrow night, but it would be great to not only play well, but to pick up 3 points. And I'd like to think it would be a game that the neutral would certainly be interested in, with 2 teams that want to be at the top end. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure our players are looking forward to it. And we need to try and make it as difficult as we can for Portsmouth.
And I suppose, Neil, when we look at the division, the League One, I suppose, and you look on paper, if you look at reputations of the clubs, Wigan and Reading have massive reputations, but they're struggling at the early start of the season in terms of picking up results. They're in the lower half. How important is it for the teams now that are in form towards the top of the table to put the points on the board and to build that lead over Wigan and Reading? Because those 2 clubs are not going to stay in bad form forever. They do have the capacities to turn it around. So how important is it, while those 2 big traditional names are struggling at the moment, to really pile on the pressure and put on the points and drive that distance between yourselves and those 2 in case they come with a late run?
I think for me, we're very much right now focused on ourselves. Too early to look at the league table. And I think, boring as it sounds, we're just taking it a game at a time. The more points you can pick up at this stage in the season, obviously gives you confidence, momentum, but we know so many games to play. We're not even 3/4 of the way through the season, so I think still too early. Reading had a good win at the weekend, but I think Stevenage, Exeter, we all know that anyone in this league is capable of winning games and going on good runs, and as always, it will be the team that can do that for a real long period of time. Teams that have been at the top have always won a lot of games. So we need to continue to get better and along the way pick up a lot of points.
And finally, for me, Neil, I suppose it has been a fantastic start. But if you could look at one area in terms of that you would like to see some bit, even a small or tiny thing that you would like to see a bit of improvement in the next few weeks, what would that be? Is there any sort of particular thing that's maybe egged you towards the start of the season that you might say, yeah, if we could just touch up on that a bit more, I'd be very, very happy?
No, Jim, you don't know me well. There's a lot of things I want to be better. But if you're pushing me for one, I'll say we obviously want other people to start scoring goals. I think that will happen as long as Devante continues to score and we win games. But I think I expect to see other names in the score sheet, and I believe that will happen as the season progresses.
On that note, Neil Collins, Barnsley manager, thanks for joining us this evening, sharing your updates on Barry Cotter, Luca Connell, and the Portsmouth game. Best of luck, Neil.
Thanks, Jim.